Welcome to MegaBucks Radio. Conversations with successful entrepreneurs, sharing their tips and strategies for success. Real-world ideas that can put MegaBucks in your bank account. Here's your host, Nina Hershberger.
Well, welcome to this issue of MegaBucks Radio Podcast. On the phone with me, I have Ann Carden. Ann, it is so good to have you. I'm looking forward to this for a long time. Ann has spent 41 years in the business world, 13 of those years. She was in corporate business management. And then for 28 years, she actually wrote the checks because she owned the businesses and I think was successful in selling 5 of those. Is that right, Ann?
Correct. Yes. I'm still in 1, so 6 total and sold 5.
So that makes sense. So tell us, go in the back, tell us what it was you did in all of those years.
Oh, my goodness. Well, my first business, I was looking for a way to make money. We were financially struggling after I left my corporate income. So I started at that time, crafting was exploding across the United States. And I have always been very creative. And I said, okay, I think I can make some things here. And I did. And I took them to a little store in our small town. And she put them on consignment. And they didn't sell. And after about 2 weeks, I said, okay, tell me what's selling. And she said, these rabbit dolls. And I said, rabbit dolls? I have no idea how to make rabbit dolls. But I needed money. So I said, I am going to quickly learn how to do this. And I went and I looked at all kinds of different patterns and, got ideas. And then I went home and I created my own design, borrowed my mom's sewing machine, and away I went. And that business went international. I mean, this was way before internet, way before all the technology that we have today. And that business went international. I did it for 7 years. I employed several people. I had designs where people were waiting for my design. So they were waiting for the next doll to be released. I did more than rabbits over the years. And so it just, it exploded. And I was in stores all across the country. I was shipping, all over the world. And after about 7 years, I decided I didn't want to do that anymore and sold my designs out to a pattern company. In the meantime, I was already selling patterns as well. So that was another piece of my business. And then I entered the fitness industry and built 2 health clubs, 2 weight loss centers. And I started coaching about 2 years, I think, before I actually sold my last 2 businesses. So I was already moving in the direction of coaching and consulting. And I had sold 2 of those other businesses. And that's where I am today.
So today you're a strategic business growth coach in a very specific way, which is why I really wanted you on this podcast today, is because you help people, and I think it's primarily professional services or local businesses, create a high-ticket expert kind of an offer. So in other words, instead of maybe being a chiropractor and having a $40 adjustment, no matter what the business, you go in and you help them identify and create a high-ticket offer. So, tell us, why do you do that? And let's get into how you can do that.
Yes. Ooh, I love this because I have been using the high-ticket strategy in all of my businesses for years, even before I really realized that's what I was doing. I did that in my fitness club, years and years ago. And it is such a cool strategy to not only give you faster financial leaps, it's higher profit. And so if you can create a high ticket, I love the high ticket business model. One of the things that I always try to get people to do when they're trying to grow their business is they're doing traditional growth. And a lot of times they're just trying to sell like their average thing or their low ticket item. And they're just working awfully hard. They're giving away a lot of time. A lot of times they're staying overwhelmed, overworked, and underpaid. And so I started using the high ticket strategy in my own consulting business years ago. And it was such a game changer for me, but I had also used it with other consultants, with chiropractors, with people in professional services. I think back to, when I first started coaching, I was working with a marketing agency. Well, actually, he was a marketer, I should say. He was a one-man team, and he was out there trying to sell websites. And, he was selling his websites for, I don't know, $2,500 or, $3,000, which some people would say, ooh, that sounds high ticket. But it was not in comparison to what he was capable of doing. And over the course of the 3 years he had been in his business, I don't even think his business had reached $50,000 a year. In fact, I'm almost sure it hadn't. And, he was just working so hard. He was out there it was a hustle and a grind. And I said, look, you've got all of this brilliance and all of these skills, and you've got all of this value that people don't know how to do. And what if you could package this up into something much larger? And then let's create some other high-ticket packages in your business so that people can clearly see what they're buying. So instead of buying a la carte, they're buying this big value package with an outcome or a result. And so we put together this entire branding package, which included a website, included a logo, it just included many of the things he already did. And I think within about 45 days, 90, he sold that package for over $30,000. And that was it was a life changer for him. It wasn't just a business changer. It was a life changer for him. And so now he could go out, and I'm all about helping people create rinse and repeat. Like, why make your business so hard? Build something, get something that's high ticket, that can really rapidly grow your business, give you a lot of profitability, but also it can leverage your time, and it's rinse and repeat. You can sell it over and over and over again. And I have used this strategy in so many businesses, from CPAs to tech companies, you name it. I have helped them create this kind of a business model, and it is so powerful. But I love it because it's just so, everybody's out there trying to build revenue, right? They all want to build their revenue, but they're not really thinking about, gosh, how can I really package this value and make these big, massive leaps and put most of the money in my pocket, which is really what the right high ticket offer will do for you. But it also helps people stand out as the expert. When you have something that's proprietary to you, it's different to you, other people aren't selling the same thing, then it helps you stand out, and you will start becoming known for that, and it will attract people to you specifically for that. And any business can do this. I mean, any professional services are the perfect option for this, the perfect kind of business to do this. But most of them don't. And I think they either don't know the strategy or they don't know how to do it. So yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite strategies.
So let's go back to your health club stores or health club, your gyms. Tell us, what did you do then to do a high ticket?
Yes. So again, we're talking over 20 years ago. And at that time, and it's really hard for people to really have this concept, especially if they're in fitness now or they're in health clubs now. But back then, people did not combine nutrition and working out. In fact, gyms were not even super, super popular. They were kind of just, the fitness scene was kind of starting to come on to become popular, I should say. And I was doing both nutrition, and I was also working everybody out and training and all of that kind of thing. And I came up with a program, and back then it was very cutting edge. And I put together the weight loss or the nutrition plan and a 30-day program. And I actually trademarked it, and I called it Body Blast. And it was, they could lose up to 25 pounds in that 30 days. They worked out with me, for an hour, 5 days a week. It was early morning. We did an early morning to start it. They got a whole nutrition plan. We measured and weighed them, and we did all of that. So it was a whole comprehensive package. And at the time that I was doing that, Nina, my club fees were about, and I was very, very small at that time. I didn't even have a large health club yet. It was just a very small amount of people. I was trying to find a way, how can I make bigger leaps here financially and grow this business? And so that's where I came up with the idea, just through trying to innovate. And I came up with the idea, trademarked it, called it Body Blast. And I was charging $125 for that. Now, back then, and we were in a small community, very, very small community, and my club fee or my fitness fees were $36 a month. That was high ticket. That was high ticket back then. I also did personal training, but I was trying to find a way to do the one-to-many, really leverage my time because, again, I was only one person getting this business started. But we did that program at $125. Eventually, I raised it to $150. Eventually, I raised it to $175. But I did that program, and it made me over $1 million over the course of years. Now, I only ran it 4 or 5 times a year, but it was the thing that helped me grow 4 businesses because I became so well known in the space. Even now, Nina, after almost 10 years of being out of that, I still have people remember me from those businesses. And it made such an impact. And I really, truly became very well known for that program. We would have a waiting list. People would be calling our club as my club grew. And it was very... It was the difference in my club growing or just staying kind of where it was, making just a small income. Because it gave me those big shots of revenue in the business because every time I did it, we would have 20 or 30 or 40 people. Eventually, we got to where we had 50 people in one of those programs. And we would have people call our club and say, when's the next body blast? When's the next body blast? And I just saw the power in that, in doing that and what it did for my business and how it financially changed really the whole landscape of my business, that I started implementing that over and over and over again in my club with different things, not just body blast, but then with different things. But I just saw the power in that strategy. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, so even though that was 20 years ago or even 10 years ago when you sold it, the point still is, even if you were still in the fitness industry, there would be some kind combination. You would still do that same strategy, but it doesn't matter what. Let's talk a chiropractor. I go to a local chiropractor here. He has no nutritional supplements. You just go in, he adjusts you, he puts you on this little, I don't know if I'm going to say it, pronounce it properly, but a TINS or a TEMS or a whatever, little stimulation, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
I mean, that's not high ticket.
Such an opportunity there. Oh, my goodness. Such an amazing opportunity there. Well, I'll just tell you this. Our highest ticket offer in my health club was $12,000 when I sold my business. We had a $12,000 a year membership, and it sold. And I have helped people build those kinds of offers, even 30 and 40. So even if you're talking about a chiropractor, they could bundle. And again, they have to really do this in a very creative way because you don't want a lot of money going back out. So you don't want to do something where you're incurring a lot of cost with it. You want something that's high profit. That's really important. You want something that's really leveraging their time. And you want something that's going to give them those big financial leaps. So a chiropractor easily can do a $2,500, a $3,500, a $5,000 offer, even more once they establish themselves as an expert in that space. But not only that, Nina, it can also take on a life of its own, where now they become known for that thing, whatever their expertise is and what they have created this high ticket offer around. And now they can get on stages and speak, and they can teach other people in their industry how to do the same thing. And that's where a lot of times even bigger money can come from. So now that $5,000 offer, now they become the expert at being able to do that in their business. Now they can teach that to other people. And, now they can charge $20,000 or $30,000 for that. So the thing that's so great about high ticket is once you dial this in and you really get it going, there's more opportunity even beyond that one ticket or that one offer. Does that make sense?
No, explain that.
Well, so for example, let's say I know a chiropractor that he became really well known in the athletic space, with high school athletes. And he started building his whole brand around that. Like everything he put out there was all around that. But he ran high ticket workshops for athletes. And not only did it built his core business, because when people were driving from all around to bring their athletes to his workshops, and then he became the chiropractor for them, and he was selling, again, this was a high ticket workshop, that these athletes were doing. He was also building his core business, because now their families would come, his brothers and sisters, mom and dad, and he would get the families now as part of his patient list. And once he built that up and he really became known, he started going out and speaking. Then he got paid as a speaker. Then he started going out and he got paid to travel. He was traveling all over the world talking about what he's done with these athletes. And he just became so well known for that. He became the expert in that space. Eventually, he got picked up by a pro team. So when I say that it really is scratching the surface when you create a high ticket offer in your business and you get that rolling. But the other thing, and I don't know that he did this, but the other thing he could have done was he could have gone and taught other chiropractors to do exactly what he had done to explode his business and become well known in his space. And so when you're teaching other people how to go and make money to do the same thing, all of a sudden you've got something that's worth even more money. So it's almost like these layers or these levels.
That makes perfect sense. Do you think the reason people do they not think about it? Is it a mindset that, okay, if I'm a chiropractor, we'll just keep going that route? I mean, that's, as a chiropractor, I'm charging $50 and the normal is $35, so I'm really doing well. Never thinks about it. Why do you think more and more businesses don't do something like this?
Oh my gosh, that is such a great question. I think there's a few answers to that. First of all, I think if you're talking about people who are in an industry like chiropractors, where they are in, I like to call it a helping industry. Okay, they're helping people. They're not out there selling a product. They're out there selling a service that can change someone's life or can help someone's life. They have this instinctively, they have this servant's heart. They have this heart to want to make a difference and want to help people. And often they don't think about what they're doing like a business, and they don't realize the impact that they can have. Like it is mindset really, because they're not thinking beyond right here, right now, their four walls. That's what they're thinking about. And they want to grow their business. I think most of them want to grow their business, but they're just not thinking outside the box. They're not thinking bigger. So I think one thing is a lot of times they don't think about, okay, if I grow this business to whatever level, how much more of a reach, how many more people can I help beyond just what I'm doing right now? So that's the first thing. They have to have that mindset to want to make a bigger impact, to want to reach more people, but they also have to treat their business like a business. And I think a lot of, again, chiropractors, this could be dentists, even coaches fall into this category, people that love helping people. A lot of times they don't realize that they're not a charity, they're a business. And you can help more people if you're a successful business and you make a lot of money in your business, and you can help in a lot more ways. So I think it is twofold. I think, number one, they maybe don't know how. They don't go to business school, right? They go to school to be a chiropractor. So they're not really probably taught much in the way of business. And two, I think that they just have such a heart to help that they just don't really think beyond that.
So when you have helped when you've coached these businesses, I bet you there's got to be an aha moment when they say, holy cow, why didn't I think about this before?
Yeah. It's very true, actually. It's funny because when people are able to do this in their business, and here's the funny thing, I know we're talking specifically about, service providers, but even if you think about, even a plumbing company could do this. They could be putting all their marketing juice behind hot water heaters or like the big ticket items, but they're not. They're putting their marketing money behind, replacing a toilet or fixing a sink, those $200 and $300 sales, when they could be selling something that's $2,000. And here's the great thing about high ticket, and this is what a lot of business owners, service providers, again, it doesn't matter. This strategy works across industries. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that when they are focused on selling high ticket versus all the low ticket stuff, it requires less team. It requires less marketing. They make bigger financial leaps with less. So it's like they get more with less. So again, I like, using the chiropractor. If he's out there and he's doing, 10 or 20 or 30 adjustments a day, how exhausting is that? But if he can bring in even, let's say, a group of people, and he's got an expertise or something that he is so passionate about, and he can create, say, even a $3,500 or a $5,000 offer around that, and he can bring people in, and as a group, he can basically sell this high ticket offer, and he can sell that to 5 people. He's just boosted his revenue $25,000. And if he does it right, if he structures it right, it's going to require very little of his time, because there's so much of it that could be done in a group setting. So everything wouldn't be about him, time for money. So it's not a time for money model. And that's what makes it so incredibly powerful. But yeah, I think a lot of people, they wouldn't know how, or they don't think about doing this, or they've just never been exposed to it, really.
So in other words, in the chiropractic world, so they could, if they added supplements in. So I'm thinking about what you did was your, what was it? The body, what was it called? The
body blast. Yes.
Body blast. If he partnered with somebody, that person could come in and run the body blast concept in his location. So he's got a group. Is that kind of where you're going with that?
Yeah, but I think not even in terms of like fitness or anything like that. Now this, the one chiropractor I was talking about, he did it specifically for athletes. So he had, and here was his model. And he used to use my health club, and that's why I knew what he was doing. He was charging, I don't know, at that time, and again, this was a lot of years ago, $1,500 or $1,600 for these kids to come in for like a workshop, kind of a camp. I'm trying to remember how much he ran it. It seemed like it was, a couple times a week for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and they were paying $1,500, and he was packing them in, 12 and 15 kids. Well, that's a big shot of revenue. And guess what? He wasn't doing any adjustments. He was running the trainings, that were helping these kids. Now, he had some background. He had, he was a collegiate athlete. He was, a college athlete, and he had some background and some passion. But here's the thing. Most chiropractors, when I talk to them, I say, what got you into chiropractic? And they'll start telling me. And I'm like, boom, there's your expertise right there. Why are you not building something big around that? Why are you not becoming known for that? Because they almost all have a reason why they got into their business. I think about one chiropractor. He told me he was just beginning, though. And here's the thing. This is a better strategy for people who are established. They've already got business going, and they're known, and now they can spin off, and they can create this whole nother revenue stream and, build their business even bigger. So I do think that it's a strategy where it's going to work better with a chiropractor that's a little bit more established. It wouldn't have to be, but I think you would have a better chance of really launching it and getting it off the ground. But this chiropractor was brand new, just getting started in his business, and he was actually working for another chiropractor at the time. He hadn't yet gone out on his own. And I was talking to him one day, and I said, what got you into chiropractic? And he said, I had vertigo so bad as a teenager. And he said, it actually put me out of sports. He was very athletic. He said it actually kind of stopped me in my tracks and it put me out of sports. And he said, I went to a chiropractor and it fixed me. And he said it changed my life. Was able to get back into sports and I was able to do all these things. And I said to him, when you start getting established or you decide to go out on your own, you should consider branding yourself and packaging that up and marketing that as a bigger offer and kind of become known for that. Because how many people struggle with vertigo? I mean, I've never looked at the statistics, but I know a lot of people that have struggled with that, that health issue. And so I think most chiropractors, they have a reason, again, why they got into chiropractic. So it could be done in almost anything that they do, but they just have to, create that offer with leverage, and it's going to, not only leverage their time, but I guess where I was going with that is he could have brought a group of people in and given them all the things they needed to help their vertigo, except for his adjusting. And he could have even brought in another chiropractor to help with that piece. But he could have been selling $2,500, $3,500, $5,000 packages to help people with vertigo because, number one, they're on medication typically. It stops them in their tracks. A lot of people can't work. But this could be done with a lot of health issues.
So we've spent a lot of time talking about a chiropractic, but what about a restaurant? You talked a few minutes ago about a plumber. I mean, any kind of business could do this. Let's talk restaurants, if you don't mind.
Sure. Any kind of business can do something higher ticket. It's all about increasing that average value sale. So, for example, what kind of an event can a restaurant do where they're bringing in a lot of people? So the thing about high ticket is it's all about leverage, and it's all about the one-to-many kind of, okay, how can you leverage what you're doing? So, thinking bigger, thinking about bigger things, bigger offers. It would depend on the restaurant, obviously, but there are ways that you can increase the average sale. There are ways you can bundle things. Maybe not a $2,500 or a $3,500 offer, for example, but what about something bigger where people are paying a lot more money? And again, I think a lot of people don't think like this. They just get into their business and they're just selling their normal thing, their average thing, instead of thinking outside the box.
So if we go back to the plumber where you said, how about a water heater instead of a toilet? Mm-hmm. Would you see, Anne, perhaps them looking at a neighborhood at a certain age? I mean, do water heaters only usually last so long? And then he would start farming marketing into that neighborhood with houses that are, a certain age that should be changing their water heaters by now. Would that be part of the strategy?
Yeah. So part of the marketing strategy behind that is because you kind of become the go-to person for that. So everything that you're doing is sort of pushing people to look at you as the expert in that thing. So, for example, a plumbing company that wants to put a push or a marketing campaign behind hot water heaters, they want to make sure their website is optimized. Well, actually, I've done this. I'll give you another example of an auto repair shop I did this with. Same kind of thing, high ticket. But it was bundling services. But when they put the push behind the hot water heaters, they come up to the top of Google. They can run any kind of advertising. They can do direct mail, and they can become the go-to person for that thing. It doesn't mean they're taking all of their other services. It doesn't mean that those are out the window. They're still going to get that business. And this is the one thing. It's kind of like the chiropractor that I said, okay, he became known for this. He got the athletes, but then he got their families. Right? That wasn't part of I'm sure it was part of the plan, but what I'm saying is people think they're instinctively leaving out a whole big piece of the market when they're doing this, and it actually has the opposite effect. It actually brings more people to them because now they look like the expert. They look like the go-to person for that, And people will instinctively call them for that specific thing. So to answer your question, yes, everything, put a marketing campaign behind that and become the go-to person for that. I worked with an auto repair shop, and he did some sort of, and I'm trying to remember, it's been a couple of years ago, but he did like brake rotors or brake pads, something like that, fixing brakes. And it was like $140 sale, whatever it was he was doing. And I said, look, if you're going to put any marketing dollars behind this, or you want to run any kind of advertising or whatever behind this, how can we make this bigger? How can we turn this $140 sale into, a $450 sale? And that's exactly what we did. So we went to work, and we actually we brought in other things that added the value to that $140 offer until it was a $459 offer. And then we ran some Facebook ads that literally, I don't even think he spent $200 on Facebook ads, but we had to shut them down because it was such a unique bundle. We gave it a name. This is a really important thing too. When you're creating a high ticket offer for any business at all, name it, because it makes it, all of a sudden, it becomes your unique thing. It's kind of like when I trademarked Body Blast, and when I named it, no one else could use Body Blast. And I became known for Body Blast. I became known as the expert for that. And so that's really what we're talking about here, is standing out in a crowded market and not only leveraging your services and making those bigger financial leaps and making bigger money, but also you become really known for something. Now you stand out, and people will automatically think of you. And it really is truly all about, building your brand. I mean, I don't like the, brand building, so to speak, because I think a lot of, you work with business owners. A lot of business owners think building their brand means, running ads over and over and over again that, don't get them anything. They're marketing their logo. That's what people think when they think about building their brands. Well, if people see me a million times, they'll start buying from me. That's not true. Just because someone sees you a million times doesn't mean they're going to buy from you. You have to stand out. You have to be different. And creating a high ticket offer makes you different.
Well, I create books for clients. I actually put them on the front of a magazine, and I create books. And one of the books that I do is called Ask the Expert book, because I go back to, so even your chiropractor, there was an athlete. He was an elite athlete in his college days and went in and focused on that. I mean, having a book creates that expert status as well, because we know experts write books. And their authority positioning and stuff. Did you do any kind of book writing with your plumber, with your auto repair guy? Because I did, actually, and it was astonishing what that did.
No, the thing is, I have not done that with them, but I certainly could. And I think some of it comes down to the kind of person you're working with. So a lot of times, small professional service providers are a little bit different than, say, a small business owner. A small business owner, they may not be the kind of person that wants to necessarily be in the spotlight. They may not want to, they wouldn't see really the value of a book if they've got a good business, and they just want to grow their revenue, and they want to build their business into an asset they can sell. Where I would see that working, and this is, again, what I can help them do, is if they want to become a coach or a consultant, or they want to teach other people something that they have really coined as their own, or something that's been proprietary to them, and now they want to build kind of a whole nother income stream. So yes, in that respect, this is one of the things that I can help them do, where now they're creating their expert status, but they're also creating a high ticket offer that can go out and teach other people in their industry what they have done to be so successful. And it's really powerful. And to me, it is the next. So I don't know that I would see people necessarily using that so much inside their business, but if they wanted to, Now they want to start working with other people in their industry that are not direct competition. They want to teach them what they know. Now they can almost build a whole nother business like that. And it's actually one of the scale strategies that I use with them. Once you are the expert, now you need to teach other people what you know. And, that's how a lot of coaches and consultants get started anyway. So the book and all of that, yes, absolutely. It's powerful.
Well, Ann, this has been so fascinating. I'm looking at the clock right now, and we are out of time. But if somebody, if this is resonating and they know that there's probably a high ticket that they're not capitalizing, how can they? Do you have an offer for people listening, or how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so there are actually a couple of things. First of all, I have a Facebook group specifically for scaling up with high ticket, where all of these kinds of strategies are discussed. We talk about even elevating the brand, getting that visibility, writing that book, all of those pieces go along with that. And so they can get into my Facebook group. So it's called Scaling Up with High Ticket for coaches, consultants, and experts. And I put chiropractors, service providers, to me, they fall into that expert category. But also they can reach out to me on LinkedIn and connect with me. And again, this is just, any chiropractor that's been in their business for any length of time, they've already created their expertise. They're missing big opportunity by not doing this.
Okay, so they reach out to you primarily through LinkedIn. So Ann is ANN, and Carden, her last name is CARD like in dog, E like in Edward, N like in Nancy. So Ann Carden, just look you up on LinkedIn, or go to, why don't you say the Facebook group one more time?
Yeah, the Facebook group is called Scaling Up with High Ticket for coaches, consultants, and experts.
Well, Ann, this is a real pleasure. Thank you for taking your time. I am sure there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be really thinking, you've got them thinking about that high ticket offer. So
it's a game changer.
I love it. So until the next show, please go out and start creating your high ticket thing today.
Thank you for listening to MegaBucks Radio with Nina Hershberger. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or to listen to past episodes, visit megabucksradio.com.